Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Trek Canon. So, today I wanted to kind of step outside of I'm not going to say step outside of what I normally do, but I had a series of videos that I wanted to release in a certain order. But then this happened, and I really had to make a video on this, man. I had to stop what I was doing, say, hold the presses, and really talk about this because this got me excited. Now, as you guys seen by the heading of the video, I'm going to be talking about the director's cut digitally remastered Star Trek, the motion picture that has been recently released on Paramount Plus. I'm not plugging Paramount Plus, I'm just telling you where it is. Now, I have seen, no lie, I have seen Star Trek, the motion picture over 20 times. All right. Now, needless to say, I am very familiar with scene by scene by scene of this movie and most of the other movies and most of the other episodes. That being said, I was very excited to see what they would do based on the drastic changes that was made to the original series episodes, to how they digitally remastered those. Man, it's scenes and those, man. I'd be like, wow, I know exactly what scenes were remastered, added, and everything like that, and they never ceased to amaze me. You know what I'm saying? I've never been disappointed when watching a digitally remastered original series. So if you guys haven't watched it, go ahead. But anyway, it's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the motion picture. Now, I decide I'm gonna put this on. I have high hopes, but I'm basically just wanting to see um, what they did. That's basically my curiosity. Like I said, I've seen the movie over 20 times, so you know, seeing it again to whereas I could quote word for word, line for line again. I want to see what they did. So wow, look, wow, just wow. Now, for anybody who, for some strange reason, has never seen Star Trek the Motion Picture, all right, I want you to stop this video and I want you to go check it out. And then I want you to come back because Star Trek the Motion Picture is Star Trek at its most raw. All right, Star Trek the Motion Picture is Star Trek at its most basic, at its most elemental. It's the rawest form of Star Trek that it's the purest. It's uncut. You know what I'm saying? But let me tell you what I'm talking about when I say that. Now, when we talk about stories in Trek, when we talk about the theme of Star Trek, and I've made several videos where I talk about this, Star Trek mirrors or holds a mirror, I should say, to the human condition. That the actual journey, the actual undiscovered country, the actual final frontier is the human experience, all right, and how we fit into that. Most of the greatest stories in Trek focus not on conflict per se with big battles and all that kind of stuff. There are exceptions, with things like D Space Nine and stuff like that. But even Deep Space Nine held true to this premise, and the premise is that the human condition is ever evolving, and no matter what hurdles we have to overcome as humans, as a civilization, that we are always willing and able to step up to the plate and make all of us, and by extension individually, better, and make us individually better, and by extension all of us better. All right, infinite diversity, infinite combinations. All right, so at its most raw, it is the optimistic look of the human condition, of humanity. All right, now, that being said, we let's talk about the story of V'ger. All right. And this isn't going to be a long video. Like I said, I did take a few notes because I kind of wanted to stay on topic. And maybe one day, if, people are really interested, I'll do an examination of the motion picture. But for right now, it's kind of like just one of my bootleg talks about it, because it was such a great. Anyway, so um, the original movie was released, I believe, in the 80s. put it up here. It was released in the 80s. And maybe 81. Anyway, he was released in the 80s. All right. It didn't do too well as far as the box office went. Over time, it developed a cult following. All right. People who were able to see this movie and understand it for what it was, they really dug it. Around the same time, or a few years earlier, I believe, Star Wars had came out, and the space opera, space fantasy that is Star Wars, with all the stuff like that. And although Star Wars is a good story, it's more action oriented. So if you was to hold a Star Wars, the first Star Wars movie up against the first Star Trek movie, they're vastly different in their execution of the themes and excitement that's going on. Now, that being said, um, I think people were expecting a Star Wars type of movie, and I think that's why I didn't do too well. But like I said, over the years, it's developed a cult following, and every time you watch it, just like with any great story, whether you read it or you watch it or whatever, just like with any great uh, piece of literature, there's always something new to take from it, not only with each read, but with each learned experience. The older you get, the more wisdom you gain. Now, it's been about 10 years since I had seen the motion picture, all right? And to come back to watch it, again, I was excited, but again, I know it word for word. Now, let's get into the premise. What's going on? Basically, they pick up this gigantic energy cloud that's basically 3 AU. For people who don't know what an astronomical unit is, AU, that's basically the distance between Earth and the Sun. So it was 3 of those distances, all right? 3 to 5, I forget. I'll put that up there too. It's not important, but basically it was huge, all right? And 3 Klingon battle cruisers are basically like, yo, we're going to go and investigate this. They fire, because they Klingons, they fire a photon torpedo into it to see what the effects will be. And that does not work out well for them at all. Now, it's interesting. This is the first type of weapon in Star Trek that we see that does this. A totally, a total disintegration. Well, not disintegration. A total absorption of whatever matter this energy ball contacts. So it's not destroyed, it's digitized and saved. All right, but at this moment we don't really know that. All right, so basically to us, those Klingon vessels were destroyed. Now the thing is that by this time of the Star Trek canon, you have Admiral Kirk. He's in charge of Starfleet operations and everything like that. And basically, he's been trying to petition to get the Enterprise back because he wants to be Captain Enterprise again. Right now, it's Captain Decker, which is somebody he recommended for the position. Now, don't get Captain Decker mixed up with Commodore Decker, who was shown in the episode Doomsday Machine. All right, 2 totally different Deckers. All right, so Captain Decker, all right, is basically overseeing a refit of the Enterprise from its 1701 to its 1701A days. All right, basically it's getting refit. Now, new systems, all of that. Now, they get word basically that this cloud is coming, and Admiral Kirk is going over with Scotty to take command of the Enterprise. Now, it's this long sequence, and when I say long, I don't mean long negatively. All right, where Scotty is driving Kirk around. Of course, you do the fly around a ship and space dock scene, but I wanted to make note always of Jerry Goldsmith's. I believe it was him. It's usually Jerry Goldsmith that does the outstanding Star Trek work, but his outstanding musical score for this movie, I cannot underplay or give enough attention to just how the musical score of Star Trek the Motion Picture is just as much a character in the movie as the ship itself, all right, or is the story itself. So kudos. Now, basically, Kirk comes aboard and he, long story short, takes over command. Decker isn't pleased with this, but what are you gonna do? All right. Now, they brief everybody. Kirk briefs everybody about what they're going to be facing. All right, and was one of the things that I wanted to point to was the bravery of the people that was on this station. I know for a fact that they could have got away if they wanted to, but they stayed to monitor this cloud as it was coming, try to take readings on this cloud, try to get as much information as possible to send to the Federation and to Starfleet to try to save as many lives as possible. And that is a tenet of Starfleet. And the human condition. You know what I mean? I could run, I could succumb to my fear, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get as much information as possible. So maybe I may not be successful at this moment, but I will be able to contribute to the success of everybody. All right. But if it was me, I think I probably would have gotten a shuttlecraft or something like that and took readings as I was flying. Anyway, but anyway, so um, basically, there was a question that I put at the beginning of this video, which was, is this all that I am? All right. And that is the premise of this entire movie. Is this all I am? Is this all I can be? And think of the think of the dynamics of that question. Think of the depth of that one single question. All right. Here it is, V'ger, a being, a basically a machine who, through centuries of travel and interactions with with an artificial life form type of civilization, has amassed all the knowledge that it possibly could gain from our reality. Okay, every piece of information that could be known, V'ger has learned it. All right, now I need you guys to understand one of the reasons why I have a problem with, say, for instance, the artificial intelligence in Discovery. All right. Now, the problem I have with that is that this sphere had all of this data that basically rivaled V'ger. You know what I mean? This sphere in Discovery was supposed to have attained all of this information, and it put it all into Discovery basically, and Discovery grew a conscious and an AI, very similar to what happened with V'ger. But V'ger was pure logic, and as a machine, that would be the case. They would have no understanding of emotion. But this computer in Discovery is the most emotional computer that is, y'all know what I mean, but this ain't about Discovery. But with pure logic, the purest form of logic, V'ger was in knowing everything. V'ger had only one final question: is this all that I am? Is this all I can be? Now, we have a parallel story that's going on as well, and well, two parallel stories. The one is between Decker, and the other is between Lieutenant Ilea, whose race was featured later in, I believe it was Picard. All right, and uh, which was the only other time that they were shown. And then you had the storyline that was going on with Captain Captain Spock. Now, this is the thing. I told people in prior videos that Spock is emotional. He's not only half human, but during the events of the original series, Spock never went through or completed the Kolinar ritual, which is the ritual to purge all emotion. All right, he had never completed that. So if you look at episodes like The Cage, Spock can be seen laughing. Spock. All kinds of stuff like that. And people always say, hey, it's not a character for Spock. No, it's not. Even if you go into episodes like A Mock Time, right? At the end of that episode, when he wasn't even affected by the Ponfar anymore, when he seen Kirk, that was an emotional response. Spock has shown compassion, which is an emotional response. All right. Think of the movie Undiscovered Country, where he told that Klingon general, "Yo, man, you will help me," with anger in his voice. All right. So understand that Spock had never completed that ritual. Okay, but he still wanted to hold true to his Vulcan tenets, which was logic reinforced with emotion. And this is the thing. So Spock picks up, you know, he's on Vulcan, and he hears, all right, he telepathically hears a consciousness of pure logic, all right, and he wants to reach out to this because that's one of the things that Spock is trying to attain through this ritual, all right. He fails this ritual because they understand that he's distracted, he's having doubts, all right. Now, the Enterprise enters a wormhole, which is one of the only times, to my knowledge, which means it's probably one of the only times. That's my cocky. That's my cocky. But anyway, that the Enterprise or a warp-capable ship enters a wormhole that of that context, that accident, that way they can't get out, and it is the first time we learn that phasers can be fired at warp. Okay, like they used to be in the original series. Again, because warp factors were different than actual warp. So we find out. Oh, I wanted to address something else. Although Kirk was kind of an asshole for what he did as far as taking over command of Enterprise, I like the way that he interacted with Decker. Although he had some jealousies and things like that, when Bones pointed out to him, or when Decker pointed out to him his flaws or mistakes or something that he is making or will make or has made while commanding, for instance, not knowing that you can't fire the phasers, Kirk always handled it like, okay, you know what, you're right, I appreciate that. You know, please keep continuing to correct me. Um, you know, thank you, I really appreciate that. He wasn't all like, oh man, I know everything. You know, Kirk was real mature in that aspect, you know, just like he always is. Now, they end up uh, figuring out that V'ger has been trying to communicate with them. It's just that V'ger was communicating at such a high frequency that they didn't know what was going on, which is odd because in the episode Wink of an Eye, you would think that they would have designed the computers to be able to track such high frequency interactions. Anyway, side note. But um, V'ger allows them basically into the cloud. And I love the digital remastery that they did. You know, the graphics were interesting back then, but the way that they redid it, the way that they added to, and also this is the first time I got to see V'ger as the ship without the cloud. Like, wow, you know what I'm saying? I had seen him on Star Trek Online and stuff like that, but never in actual canon. And they put the actual V'ger in canon. You know, and come to think about it, some of the best Star Trek is Star Trek where the imminent threat is somebody on their way to Earth. First Contact, Borg on their way to Earth. Best of Both Worlds, Borg on their way to Earth. Star Trek, what was it? The Search for, no, The Voyage Home. No. What was this? No, yeah, it's The Voyage Home. Whale Probe on the way, Whale Probe on the way to Earth. It's just all these things, you know, so it's just cool that the episodes and the movies that deal with the something is on its way to Earth is usually makes for some really good suspense and drama for Trek. Now, what did V'ger want to do? How did V'ger want to answer the question, am I, can I be more? Because it found that pure logic wasn't the answer, that it needed the human condition of imagination, curiosity, abstract thought. All right. These are things that go beyond logic. For instance, love. Who can explain love logically? For real though. The only way you can explain love logically is that it's a mental disorder. It's a handicap. But we all search for it and we all long for it. All right. But these are things that can't be quantified using logic. Things that are of the human condition. And V'ger was like, nah, man, y'all ain't finna, I'm not finna upload nothing, man. No, I ain't finna do that. I want to see my creator right here, standing face to face. I want to join my creator. That's what I want to do. I want to join my creator. And they realized that V'ger was basically infant with all of the knowledge and information that V'ger had, all of the power that V'ger wielded. It was an infant in its perceptions of life. It had just came into, you know what I mean? So V'ger ends up joining with, Decker. Well, Ilea, Vija through Ilea ends up joining with Decker. It's a lot that I'm not talking about in this movie, but that's not what it's for. But um, and they end up, and Vija ends up, jumping into a higher dimension. Now, that was one of the things that has always, like I said, been expressed in Trek. Q always talks about the potential of humans. All right, the Angosians, come talk to us in 1,000 years, where we know that you have gotten better, you have grown. All right, everything that has to do with Star Trek has to do with growth and evolving and of our human condition, and this was the most raw interpretation of that dream that Gene Roddenberry had through this movie of the motion picture. So if you guys haven't checked it out, I hope this video motivated you guys to go and watch it, rewatch it, and just kind of revel in the glory of what an actual getting back to the roots of Star Trek. Take your time, because some of you been on Discovery and Picard, and stuff like that. So having the raw, it kind of you kind of had a potential to OD. So have something around you. I'm not gonna make light of that, but having Star Trek in the raw is gonna be an experience for you. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. Ring the bell for any future content. And as always, peace, recycle, and say the whales. You guys be cool.